What's up guys, my name is Andy. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the seat platforms in my 66 Mustang with a lower set of platforms to help get that seat a little bit lower. In my car, I had recently upgraded the steering column to a tilt unit so that I can get a little more leg room. But I'm also finding that, because of my tall frame, I don't have a lot of room up top. And actually, there's been times where I can almost feel like the top of my hat here hitting that headliner. I don't have one of those thinner headliners, I have the stock one. So for now, I think what I want to do is drop the seat a little bit to give me a little more headroom, but also this is something for those that don't want to buy the tilt steering column. You can do the seat platforms and give yourself about an extra inch. Let me show you what I got. So this is what we're going to be putting in. I've got a right and a left here. And actually what these are the 69 and 70 Mustang seat platforms. And these are the ones that you would buy. There's other brands out there, but you could buy these, install these, and they're designed to fit basically the same as the other ones do, but they're lower. And when I take the other one out, you'll get to see that, this is the back edge. So this is about an inch shorter than the platforms that are in there now, and then it's about an inch shorter here on the front. So what we'll do is when we get those taken out, we can compare them and see the actual difference and get an idea of how much we're going to gain in terms of headroom or seat height or whatever you want to call that, or I guess not gain but lower. And so what we need to do though to get this out of the car, gotta take the seats out, take the door sills out on the bottom there, and then we can just peel the carpet back. The carpet is actually split right across the top of the seat platforms. There's a front and back half carpet, so I think we can just peel it back and get to what we need to get to on these without having to take a lot of other stuff out of the car. And then what we'll do is once we get in there, we'll talk about how we're going to deal with the welds and get going from there. So let's get started. So guys, this was not what I was expecting it to look like underneath the carpet here. So obviously these have been replaced before, and I don't know who did it, but looks like they tried to weld it in place and then put some seam sealer stuff on here and get it secured to the car. Maybe not the best job, but I'm not a pro either, so maybe my job wouldn't be any better. But what we need to do is we need to get this out of here. In fact, here's the other side, and you can even see here I got a big gap. It's not even welded in that spot, but so that's all right. We're gonna go ahead and get these out of here, and we can get the new ones in place. Also, so probably what I'm gonna do is I'll just cut, with a cutoff wheel, just cut this out here. Maybe go down after this stuff here and use a wire wheel or something like that, just to get this seam sealer off, to get the welds exposed, and either grind the welds off and pull this piece off, or just grind the flange and then come back and attack these pieces. I don't think I want this on here. This looks like this is the original lip on the seat from before, and then they just cut the lip off of this platform, and I don't know what they were doing. So but that's all right. We'll get it fixed. Like I said, we'll get this thing out of here, and then what we can do is once this is out of the car, we can compare it to the new piece, which looks like this. And if we put this in here, obviously it's not going to fit because the other one's in the way, but it's going to be, the same dimensions. If you can see how that kind of fits on there. Same thing on this side. You can see right where it goes. What I'm going to do, I think, to make it easier, I'm just going to take like a Sharpie or a marker or something like that and just mark a line here, and same thing right here, same thing on this side, so I just know where where this original piece, where it sat. Because I'm not pulling the carpet out of the way, it's going to be difficult to maybe take a measurement from here to the front or something like that. But if I just put a line that I know that this edge here lines up with maybe a line right here, and same thing on this side, when I go to put this in, I'll be within, you know, an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch of where this originally was. And I think for what I'm doing, that's fine. This is not a full restoration car where we're going numbers matching and stuff like that. I'm just trying to modify this platform, get it a little more head clearance, you know, body clearance in the car by putting these lower platforms in there. And then, you know, maybe it may allow me to put some different seats in here, because not every seat is nice and low in the car. So anyways, let's get this this old piece out of here, get it cut out, and then see what we got to work with. All right, guys, like I mentioned earlier, I marked, you know, roughly where these edges are so that we can get this thing mostly where it was before. And I went ahead and I just cut the flange off on this setup here, and then I can go back, and I'm gonna have to clean all this out and get that off. But at least with this out of the way, it's a lot easier to get to this metal and peel it up and grind it and get it cleaned up and get everything done. So this is the old seat pan. It's seen better days. It's not really in that good a shape, but it was working, and I do need to go through and clean this up. So let's go take a look and compare this to the new piece, and we can see the difference in the height. All right, so here we've got them side by side. I can tell right away this is not going to be, you know, easy. I think that maybe the easiest way to do it is just measure from here to there, and we'll do the same thing on that to get an idea of what we're going to gain or subtract, or whatever you want to call it. So it looks like it's, you know, it's going to be hard to tell on the camera here, but let's just go, actually we'll just go right in front of this hole here, and on this lower part, not this raised piece here. So take it from there, and it's, gosh, it's again about 3 inches. Kind of hard to tell on that. And then on the back side, same thing, just in line with the hole. And we've got about 1 3/4. So on this one, trying to do the same thing. It's gonna be difficult because that flange isn't here. So the back hole is about 2 1/2. So that's about 3/4 of an inch lower in the back there on that end. And then this guy, same thing, about 3/4 of an inch. So I think, I don't think it was advertised. I think it might have been advertised actually as a 1/2 inch difference between the new one and the old one. I don't know what this one, and this is not the stock one that came in the car. This has been added afterwards, but I'm guessing it's the same stock height or factory height. So now we know that we're going to get about 3/4 of an inch lower seat in with these new platforms, and however you guys need to calculate that and how you're going to fit in the car or what you're going to do with your seats and stuff like that, you can kind of go from there. So now what I need to do is, now that this is all measured, I need to go through and I need to clean up that edge where these flanges were in the car, get all that cleaned out of there, and get it prepped to put this in, and go from there. All right, guys, so we got everything kind of ground down and cleaned up as good as I want it for what I'm trying to do here. And I went ahead and just vacuumed out the bottom here just to get it all kind of cleaned up and ready to go. I'm going to have to hit this metal up with some primer because I'm not going to weld all of that. I'm going to spot weld this stuff. And so if we take the seat platform, we put it in, it fits pretty good as is. You know, remember we were lining up the yellow marks here with just this edge and kind of trying to keep it as center as I can, and same thing on this end, you know, right about where it's supposed to be. We can figure that out towards the end though. But now that we've got this kind of sitting, everything looks pretty good. I might have to bend this tab a little bit, and I think I got to bend that one because this is sticking up. So if I bend this down or bend this back this way, this should drop this down, and then this should sit closer to that. Back here we're looking pretty good. So I don't have to do much work, but you probably will have to just tweak the flanges a little bit just to kind of get everything to sit right. And then also what I'm going to do, I believe I'm going to tack weld the edges here, and same thing on this edge here, but I'm going to do spot welds, you know, drill holes here, do some plug welds on these flanges on the front and the rear here. So I'll go ahead and get those marked up and drilled out, and then bend those tabs and get everything to fit right. So get ready to go to weld it in. That's about as close as we're going to get. This If I could bend this a little bit more, that'd be better, but we're also finding that this here is resting on that, and this is not allowing to touch to that sheet metal because this, so I've kind of bent this up a little bit to bring this down, and it's not a perfect fit, but once we, push it in place and tack it and stuff, it'll hold and it'll be fine. And then we're looking good back here, and then all this, I bent this, and what I did to bend is I just took a crescent wrench and you just kind of make a real small slit, and you just kind of put it over the edge there, and you can just kind of tweak the metal. Instead of grabbing some pliers and kind of chewing up the metal, I feel that this way is, just a clean, easy way, and it's long enough to give you some leverage to kind of bend that sheet metal a little bit and get it in place. So then what I want to do is, now that I've got this where I want it, I want to go through and I'm going to use one of these kind of punches to mark where I'm going to put a hole. If I go like that, it puts a mark into the sheet metal, so I can drill a hole there and I can come along and figure out where I want to put these. Kind of go along, do the same thing on the front edge. Then I can take them out and drill holes. I'm going to use a 5/16 drill bit to make the hole in any smaller, and I might run into problems with the welding any bigger, and I have to fill a lot of weld in the hole. So 5/16 I think is the magic number for this. And so let me get that done real quick. All right, guys, I went ahead and drilled the holes in the flanges there, and then what I did is I came through and I marked on here where those holes are, and then where I'm going to tack weld, on the sides of the flanges there. And I just need to clean off just the primer that I had sprayed just in that one little spot, just so it'll get to the metal good. And then we'll come back and we'll set this down and we'll tack it in place and finish that up. All right, guys. Again, I am not a welder. I can weld a little bit, but I'm sure you guys could point out all of the things that I did wrong on this, but this thing is solid. It is not going anywhere. I'm going to let this stuff cool down, and then I'm going to come back and just spray over the top of it with some primer just to protect it a little bit. And then we need to do the other side. All right, guys. Just went ahead and just hit it up with some primer. And I think we're good now. We'll just let that set up and we'll be good. So now, I think this side is done. I mean, we've got everything sealed up, everything's welded in place. When we fold the carpet back over, the holes, that the bolt holes that the seats went through aren't going to exactly line up, so we'll have to deal with that. But first, let's get the other side done real quick. Boom, there we go. That was real quick, right? Got that one done. I'm not going to zoom in over there because you guys will see my welds are horrible. And I found out you got to turn the gas bottle back on when you're going to weld. If you don't, your welds look like crap. And if you're inexperienced like me, you don't understand why your welds are crappy until afterwards. And then I realized when I was turning everything off on the welder, I went to turn the bottle off and it was already off, and I'm like, oh, that's probably why my welds are crap. So we'll just stay back here and you can look at them from here. Anyways, that one's done. I got that all primed up on that side. Now we can go ahead and fold the carpet back and start to get an idea of what this is going to look like with these new pieces in place. And like I said, remember the holes, this one right here isn't going to be, yeah, it's off. I mean, it should be right here. So that's gonna play a little bit different role with how your carpet is molded. In a couple of hot days, that'll help get things back in alignment and get things back where they want to be. But you're gonna have to mess with that a little bit to get everything to fit right. Let's see here, fold that one back. There we go. So what I want to do is I'm just gonna get a razor blade and I'm just gonna cut where the holes are in here, find out where they are and cut them, and then I can put the seat back in. Oh, guys, I was wrong. We needed to put the sill in first because it holds the carpet tight against the door, and then it holds it in place where it needs to be. So put the door sills in, then we can find the holes. So here I've got, this is actually the hole that was there before, and it's lining right up. However, the other one, it's a little bit farther back. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So it's about an inch farther back. Now this is going to be different with your carpet, depending on how everything falls out. You know, you may just need to fiddle around with yours until you find your hole, you know, where the seat pan hole is in your carpet. And what I'm just gonna cut a hole in here. Some people say you can use a soldering iron to melt the carpet, and that's probably a pretty good idea. I don't have that set up, so I'm just gonna cut a hole and cross my fingers that that's good enough. So there's that one. Oh, this one's actually pretty close. There, that takes care of that. And this one up here is pretty close too. We're just gonna slide that a little bit, slice it, and there, that takes care of that. So what I think we can do from here is put the seat back in and make sure that that works. There, those are in. Now we got bolted from underneath. Okay, so these are all bolted in. And I know you really can't tell much on the camera that these are lower, but let's go ahead and get the other one bolted in, and then we can sit it and kind of see where we sit in the car. Okay, that's the last one of those. Pull this back. All right. So let's see how we did. All right, so I can already tell, I don't have my hat on now, but there's already more clearance between my head and here. I could tell before even my hair would touch sometimes, so I can tell that I'm already sitting lower, and it just feels just 0.75, 3/4 of an inch lower. So that's good. I have a tilt column, and so if I were to put it in the, I guess would be the stock, setting. I still have quite a bit of clearance underneath my legs, not as much as I want, but it is more than it was before. But since I have this tilt column, I can go ahead and take care of that. But what I'm thinking about is, for those that don't have the tilt column, if you did this modification, it would give you a little bit more space. Now I got thicker legs and stuff like that, and depending on where you sit and everything, you may not care, you may not notice the difference. And also I have a 15-inch steering wheel, so that also plays another role in it. If you guys have a 14-inch steering wheel, then you've got half-inch more room. So yeah, all right, let's close this. I like it. Oh, I need a shower. Whew, it's hot in here. All right guys, that's it. That's another one in the books. Those seats are nice and low, and I do have a little bit more headroom, which is great. And again, for those that don't have a tilt column, you'll have more leg room underneath your steering wheel, which would be an added bonus for some of you guys. And also, if you're gonna do some aftermarket seats, some of them are thicker, and so you need to have that seat pan lower so that you can put those seats in and then not be hitting your head and stuff on the headliner. So, all right guys, that takes care of that. I did want to point out, when I was taking those seat platforms out, I found a couple of these plugs, and these are those plugs that go underneath when you put the nut underneath there to bolt the seats down. I know I had pushed one up inside several months ago, and it's trapped underneath that seat pan, and there was two other ones, so somebody else had done the same thing. So you'll probably find the same thing in your car. So guys, that's it. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you subscribe, I appreciate it because it helps my channel out, and we'll see you in the next one.